Sometimes the most powerful stories about the future of learning don't come from some fancy research paper. They come from something a lot more real, like a raw, passionate text message exchange. And that's what we're diving into today. A story about a surprising educational breakthrough that was born from some pretty deep frustration.
So the conversation kicks off right here, which is pure, unfiltered anger. We're basically listening in on two educators, Elon and Nava, who feel like their country is just headed in the wrong direction. There's this sense that a kind of damage is being done that feels, well, almost permanent.
And Nava's response, just 3 simple words. But wow, it just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just some professional debate they're having. It's a feeling of real despair about the state of their society. And that feeling is what sets the stage for everything that's about to happen.
So this first part of their chat, it isn't just venting. For these two, it's a diagnosis. They're seeing a systemic crisis playing out all around them, from the highest levels of the country right down into the classroom. What they're doing is connecting the dots. They're seeing a line between what's in the headlines and what they're dealing with every single day as teachers. They've come to believe that the problems they're facing in education are really just symptoms of a much bigger societal illness.
And Elon, he has a name for what he thinks is the root cause. He uses this personal term to describe a culture that he feels is obsessed with surface-level results instead of deep, meaningful work. And he believes this mindset has trickled all the way down, damaging the very heart of the learning process. So, let's see how this big-picture frustration shows up in his own classroom.
And that brings us right from this huge national-level problem into a single classroom. This is where that abstract frustration becomes a real, tangible challenge. It all centers on this conflict between the final product and the learning process.
Okay, so let's meet the heroes of our story. It's a group of kids, 4th to 6th graders, from a town Elon describes as disadvantaged. Society has kind of already decided their path for them, what he calls a trajectory that's mediocre and below. But their teacher, Elon, he sees something different. He sees their potential to reach the academic Olympus. So here's the problem in a nutshell. The students create something absolutely amazing, this really complex 3D model of a sports city. They get to present it at a huge conference, and they're thrilled. But here's the thing. They have this incredible final product, but they have 0 words to describe how they actually got there. The journey, the teamwork, the problem solving, it's all just a blank. Of course, Elon and the school principal see this right away. The students can show what they made, but they can't explain the how or the why. Nava calls it linguistic shallowness. And for Elon, this is it. This is the problem of all problems he was texting about, just in miniature. A total focus on the shiny result, with no value placed on the messy, beautiful process of learning.
So, what do you do with a problem like that? You can't just lecture them. No, Elon comes up with this really elegant solution. He decides to use AI, but not as a tool to give them answers. He uses it as a mirror to show them their own process.
And this is where the whole experiment gets fascinating. You can just feel the excitement in his text message, right? He knows he's onto something big here. He's about to use this clever trick with AI to help his students find their own voice.
The process he used is so simple, but it's also profound. So here's what he did. First, he just hit record and let the students talk naturally about their project, just a free-flowing conversation. Then, he took that audio and uploaded it to an AI tool called Notebook LM. Step 3, he told the AI to listen to everything they said and pull out the key themes about their learning process. And then, the final, crucial step. He asked the AI to rewrite those big ideas into simple language that the kids could actually understand.
And boom, this is the magic moment. The AI didn't invent a single thing. It just listened to the students' own scattered thoughts and reflected them back as this coherent, powerful story. For the very first time, the students could see their own journey, their own process, written out clearly. It was their thoughts, just organized and elevated.
Okay, so now they have this new text, this mirror of their own learning. What happens next? Well, this is where the story gets truly incredible. The students get another shot, another presentation, but this time it's in front of city officials. Elon tells them they have to learn this new text by heart. And the result? The audience was just completely and utterly stunned.
So why were they in shock? Because these kids, the ones from that supposedly mediocre trajectory, were now on stage explaining their collaboration, their challenges, and their breakthroughs with a level of eloquence and depth that, as Elon puts it, you almost never hear, even from adults.
And this chart just visualizes that shift perfectly. I mean, look at this. The before bar on the left, their focus was almost entirely on the finished product. But then look at the after bar.
it's completely flipped. Now they were spending most of their time confidently explaining the process, which is where the real learning happened.
So what does this one little classroom story really tell us? Well, it might just be a powerful blueprint for a whole new way of thinking about education, especially now in the age of AI.
When you really break it down, this story points to a completely different model for learning. It's about mentoring, not just giving instructions. It's about empowering students to guide their own learning, to deal with frustration. And maybe most importantly, it's about valuing the journey and using cool tools like AI not to cheat or find easy answers, but to help us reflect more deeply on our own thinking.
And that leaves us with this huge, fascinating question to think about, doesn't it? This little experiment suggests a powerful new role for technology and learning. Maybe the real promise of AI in the classroom isn't about making us think more like computers, but about helping us amplify, clarify, and better articulate the very human process of discovery and creation.